Okay, I have set up a solo game. This is playtest art and graphics. I'm looking forward to seeing what GMT's art department does with it. The solo game has a slightly different set of rules than a multiplayer game. The value 1 and 2 influence cards are removed from the deck, so each suit goes from value 3 to 8. In the solo game, you're the Emperor, and you're trying to fend off 3 rival claimants to the throne, and also defend Rome from invading barbarians. You fend off the rival claimants by ending the game with a higher score than them. The game lasts 3 rounds. Each round ends when the draw deck is exhausted. I've kind of moved the draw deck and discard pile a little to the side so that I have space for my cards, so that it's not it doesn't look like they're being played on the grid. This is my hand of cards right here. The game can also end when a barbarian sacks Rome. So Rome starts on the fortified side. If it gets sacked, it flips to the non-fortified side. If it gets sacked again, the game ends. So basically, the second time barbarians sack Rome, you've lost. In the solo game, the order of the cards in the forum doesn't matter. In a multiplayer game, the value of the card that you play to the grid determines the subset of cards that you can choose from as your replacement. That's what this 2 or less, 4 or less, 6 or less, or 8 or less is, but we'll ignore that for the solo game. In the solo game, you play the sword faction, and you start each of the 3 rounds. So I'm just going to play through a single round, and I'll try to describe things as they come up rather than trying to describe everything at the very beginning. So there's a certain number of barbarians shuffled into the deck depending on what round it is, and if you're playing the easy, normal, or hard game. I'm playing the normal game, so my hand size is 4. I think I'll start off with Precept Senatus. I'm going to play this Senate Influence card here. The reason I'm playing it here is this is trump for this Emperor, because remember I'm the sword faction, so I'm playing this influence card on this Emperor. But I'm also playing a non-trump card for the Eagle faction on this Populous Emperor, and a non-trump card for the Wreath faction on this Populous Emperor. So it's a decent play for me and a bad play for the other 2 factions. This event says at the end of your turn, you may draw the top card of the draw deck into your hand and select 1 card from the forum as normal. So basically I increase my hand size by 1. One thing to talk about real quick is that if the text is normal like this, it's optional. If it's in this gray box, it is a mandatory ongoing effect. So I get to choose the top of the deck, and then I'll get another red. Okay. So the 3 rival claimants are just run by AI. The AI does not have a hand of cards. You just draw the top card off the draw deck, go down a fairly simple set of decision points to determine the space that the AI will play the card in. The AI is still constrained to play in a legal space, so I'm getting ready to play for the Eagle faction. So remember, I have to play the card such that it is touching an Emperor on the Eagle side. So I could play here, but I could not play here because this card's only touching on the Wreath. So the first thing that the AI does is it says, can I play this so that I win a trick? So since we only determine if a trick is won when it's surrounded by influence cards, the answer is no. So the second thing it wants to do is it wants to play this card where it's matching the trump suit of the Emperor. In other words, it wants to play a military card on a military Emperor. So here, here, or here. Among those 3 equal spaces, it wants to play on the Emperor that has the most influence cards already played on it. In other words, closer to being resolved. So in this case, all 3 of these spaces are equal because the Eagle faction is winning. It's matching trump suit and it's winning each of these, and each of these doesn't have any cards already around it, so I get to choose. So I'm just going to place it here because, like, if I play it here, that's playing a military card on this Senate Emperor for me. So I don't want that. So I'm going to play that there. Yellow 5, so we do the same thing with the, we can't win one. So I can play matching trump and winning here, here, here. But he will play here because there's already a card, influence card around this Emperor. And he's winning because Trump. And barbarians. Okay, so we will talk about the barbarians now. If there's no barbarians on the board, you place it in the middle barbarian homeland space of the active player. So this was the Wreath Factions draw, so it goes here. If left unchecked, the next barbarian will be placed here or here. The third barbarian will be placed here. The fourth barbarian will sack Rome. There's two ways to deal with the barbarians. You can bribe them by discarding a Senate card of value 8 or less if it's in this spot, 6 or less if it's in one of these spaces, 4 or less here. You cannot prevent a barbarian from sacking Rome. So in other words, you have to deal with them before it gets to Rome. So if you bribe the barbarian, all you do is you discard the Senate card of the appropriate value, but then you shuffle the barbarian back into the draw deck because you're bribing them. You're buying time, but you still have to deal with them eventually. You can also defeat them militarily by discarding a military card, same value, 8 or less, 6 or less, 4 or less. In that case, you discard a military card, and you also discard the barbarian because you've defeated them. Any text on the card that you're discarding is ignored when you're bribing or defeating a barbarian. You can also ask for the help of the people. What that means is you can discard a populist yellow card to subtract 2 from the value of a military or Senate card that you're using to bribe or defeat. So since the value of the cards run 3 to 8, that means any military or Senate card can bribe or defeat them here, but since this is 4 or less, it obviously gets progressively more difficult to deal with the barbarians the closer they get to Rome. The other thing that's about the barbarians is the AI players will ignore them. They don't care about the barbarians. That's, as the solo player, that is something that you have to deal with alone. So, I'm going to ignore the barbarians for now. And I think I'm going to play my... this is Praetorian Guard. You may play this card in a legal space containing an influence card. If you do, discard the previously played influence card. So there's 2 rules. 1, you can only have 1 influence card per box. 2, a lot of the cards use the term legal space, which means that for me, I have to play an influence card where it touches an emperor on the sword side, since I am the sword faction. So if you've played any, like most games, there's the rules, and then the events on the cards break all the rules. So I get to replace that. I do have a barbarian out. I could defeat him with this 6 or bribe with this 6 military if he gets here. But just in case, I'm going to get another military. Okay. So we go back to the Eagle faction. Okay. Can't win a trick. Can't play here because there's already a card here. So he can play here or here. If he plays here, he's not winning because my 7 beats his 5. Therefore, he will play here. Blue 3. Oh, by the way, I can't remember if I said this earlier. The AI players ignore all text when they're playing the cards. They're just playing it for the number. However, if they do play a card with like here, if they do play a card with a ongoing effect, that takes place. So actually, we should read this now. This card cannot be covered as Castra. This card cannot be covered by a barbarian, nor moved, flipped, removed, or modified by any special ability. Okay, so this, he can't play here. If he plays here, he's not winning, and remember that like numbers cancel out, so he's not winning there. So he has 3 spaces, and again, I'm just going to place this here, since I have a choice of this space, or this space, but that just, it doesn't mess. No, actually I could play it here, because that still doesn't hurt me, because there's no emperor there. So I'll do that. Alright, red 3, can't play. Closes out a barbarian, closes out an emperor, but doesn't win it, so he doesn't want to play there. And if he plays here, he's not winning because of the 5. So now, if he goes, I can't win a trick. Okay, the first thing is he wants to win a trick. The second thing is he wants to make sure that no one else can win a trick. The third thing, he wants to play on trump and win. Since he can't do that, the fourth thing is he says, can I play anywhere, even if I'm not trump, where I'm winning? So here, no. Here, because the 3's cancel out. The 7 is beating the 3. The 3's cancel out. The 5 is beating the 3. Yeah, so now, basically any place that I play, he can't resolve any of that. So now, since he's not going to win the trick, he wants to play it on the emperor that has the least number of cards around it. So there's 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. So I'm going to play it here on this 2. This is also a Castra that I just read. Can't be modified, flipped, or covered by barbarians. So back to me. Let's go ahead and try to win this. Pretender, you may place one of these set-aside populous emperors in any unoccupied emperor space. That's what these pretenders here are. There's no, even if I wanted to, there's no unoccupied emperor space, but I'm just trying to win this populous emperor. I'll pick up a populous just so I can subtract 2 if I have the barbarians get out of hand. Okay, back to the Eagle faction. Quaestor, when resolving an emperor involving this card, the trump suit of the emperor is ignored. So it's just high card wins. He could play here, but he's giving that to someone else. He can't play here. He plays here, there's 1 card and he's winning. He plays here, there's 1 card and he's winning. No, he's not, because the 2 3s cancel out, so therefore he will play there. If he play, okay, this is interesting. If he plays here, the 2 5s cancel out and the 2 3s cancel out. So no one gets this emperor, but he's not winning it. If he plays here, the 2 5s cancel out, so he's not winning. He can't play here, so therefore he plays there. 7. He can't play there, he can't play there, he can't play there, so he plays here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick up Emperor where I can. This is Force March. You may play this card in any unoccupied influence card space, so I don't have to play it in a legal space, so that means I can play it here even though this card's only touching it on the eagle side. I can play it in any unoccupied influence card. So this Emperor is surrounded, so we determine who wins. The 8 is of trump. It's the highest trump card. I win. There, I put, here, I'm just going to move these out of the way. This is the Emperor deck for reseeding the board for the 2nd and 3rd round, so I'm just going to put mine there. Then you remove the card that won. I'm just going to put this probably off camera. I just want to make sure it's not confused with my hand. Then we remove any cards that are no longer orthogonally adjacent to an emperor, which is this card. We'll talk about scoring now that I've gotten an emperor. Each emperor is worth 1 point. Each set of the all three of the emperors is worth a bonus of 3 points. So if you have a populous, military, and Senate emperor, that's worth 6 points. 1, 2, 3 for the emperors, and then a bonus of 3 for the set. There are certain cards that allow you to put barbarians in your scoring area. They're also worth a point. The barbarians are being calm, so I think I'm going to take this. So the reason I'm thinking about taking this 8 with the barbarians being calm is the high value cards obviously help me win tricks, but remember, I need low value cards to handle barbarians that are adjacent to Rome. So that's why you don't always pick the high value cards as a solo player. Because if push comes to shove, I could play this populace and this 6 card to make it a 4, so I could actually defeat a barbarian in this space. So I will take that. Back to the eagle fact, a barbarian. Okay. Given a choice of the 2 spots, it's going to cover up the higher card. It goes there. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, I can bribe or defeat out of turn. Like, I could right now discard this value 6 card, 8 or less, 6 or less. I could discard it to defeat this barbarian right now, but then on my turn I would have to play a card, and then I only draw 1 card at the end of my turn. So every time I play out of turn, or every time I have the people help me, I'm losing 1 card from my hand size. Now, I'm up 1 due to my earlier play of Precept Senatus. So, actually, yeah, since I'm up 1, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to discard a 6 card, a 6 military card, to defeat this barbarian militarily. And we will put that in the discard pile. Okay. Now the Pillar faction. He will play here because this surrounds this emperor. His 7 wins, so he will automatically play there. So he will put here. I will put these over here just so we don't get confused of what his winnings are. The winning card goes away, and notice by the winning card being removed, this emperor is no longer surrounded. So we will not resolve that emperor. And then finally, the Wreath faction. He would love to go here, but notice all the 5s cancel, so he would give it to someone else. If he goes here, the 5s cancel, and a barbarian's covering that one. So, where can he play? Here, the 5s cancel. Here, the 3 is trump suit. Here. So no matter where he plays, so now he's not winning a trick no matter where he plays, so he wants to play it on the emperor that has the least number of cards. So this would be 3, that would be 2, that would be 2, that would be 2, that would be 4. So he's going to play, so I get to choose one of the 2s. Well, if I put it here, I'm playing a 5 for me against this emperor, which I do not like. So I will put it there. Okay, back to me. So, like I talked earlier about wanting sets, so I would really like to get a military or a Senate emperor. So I think what I'm going to do is... I would like to save this 8 card. I mean, I could win this one with the 6 because I'm the only trump suit here. But I'm worried I may need this 6 value Senate card to maybe bribe a barbarian, so I think I'm going to play my 8. Damnation of Memory. You may remove from the game 1 emperor adjacent to the space this card's played in. Well, I'm obviously not going to remove this emperor because I want to win it. So this emperor is surrounded. 8 trump suit wins. I now have this. This card's no longer orthogonally adjacent to an emperor. It is removed. I pick a replacement. I'd really like a low value red card is what I want, but I've noticed a lot of them are out there that may the only military card right now. Okay, back to the Eagle faction. A yellow 3. Okay, so can't play there, can't play there, can't play there. So can we win something? Okay, let's slide this over. Yes, he's currently winning this one right here because the 2 5s are canceling out, and that has the most cards around it. So he plays there. Another barbarian. Alright. Yellow 4. Can't play, can't play, can't play. Okay. So, he's not winning here. Is that the only place? Oh, he can play 3 spaces. Here, here, or here. Oh, 4. He's not winning there. He's not winning here. Ah, again, for the same reason, he plays here because the 2 5s cancel out. Alright. See, this is a tough decision. I could play my blue 6 to shuffle the barbarian back into the deck. Or I could play my populous card with the 8 value to make it a 6 to defeat this barbarian. The problem I have is there's no military cards up there. I'd like to be greedy and shuffling back in, but that's just going to delay the problem. Okay, since I can defeat him militarily, let's go ahead and do it, even though I'm down a hand size. So I call on the people to help me. The populace subtracts 2 from the 8, so it becomes a 6. 8 or less, 6 or less. So these 2 cards go here. This one is defeated, but now my hand size is down to 3. And I'm going to have to pick a yellow card so that I can possibly do that again if I need to. I really need a military card to show up. Okay. Alright, well, that was, okay. So basically, if, as you saw, if you draw a barbarian card, you keep refilling the 4 until it's full of influence cards. Alright. No, no, no. Okay, so where can he play? Looks like he only has 1 spot, right? Is this the only spot that he can play in? Alright, let's go. No, 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 no. Yeah, so that's it. So there's only spot he can go, so he goes there. This Emperor is surrounded. The 2 7s cancel out. So the Eagle faction says thank you. The 3 is the winning card, discarded. Alright. Oh, he'll play here because he'll win it, because he's Trump. So the 3 Trump beats the 7 non-Trump, so, oh, look at that, he wants a yellow card. The 3, come on, the 3 is discarded. Barbarians are never discarded, even though they're no longer orthogonally adjacent to but this is no longer orthogonally adjacent, so we remove the influence card, but I have to take care of the barbarians. Speaking of barbarians, oh, this is not good. I could interrupt right now and bribe or defeat it, but there's no reason to because I can do it on my turn. But the problem is, I can't do it on my turn. I need a 4. I could spend 2 cards to bribe it, but he's just gonna come right back. Oh, do. I need like a, what do we have up here? Instead of selecting a card from the forum, you may look at the top 4 cards of the draw pile. And instead of, okay, those are the 2 same things. No, yes, that should help if I read my cards. Foederati, you may play this card in the legal space containing a barbarian. If you do, discard the barbarian and any influence card it may have been covering. Oh, well, yeah, it actually matches the Emperor, but I really don't care. I just want to get rid of the barbarian. So, okay, so that worked out well. I guess I need a blue card. I need a blue 5 or 6 in case I have to bribe them. So I'll grab that. Okay. Blue 4. Where can he play? Alright. I'm going to put his card here just so I can look. No, no, no. No, no. Okay. So in this case, unless I'm missing something, there's no valid place for him to play, so we just discard the card. Right? He can't play on... Okay, let's go down. He can't play on this Emperor or this Emperor. He can't play on that Emperor. No. No. No, no, no. Okay. Pillar faction. He has 3 spots he can play. Oh, well that's obvious. He'll play there. And he's beating me now. The winning card, and not adjacent to an Emperor, gets discarded. And the Wreath faction of 4. Alright, if he plays here, no one wins, but he's not winning. If he plays here, I win it. If he plays here, no one wins it, but he's not winning. So since he's not winning, he plays on the, and this is cavalry. When resolving an Emperor, consider this card. Even if it would match the value of another influence card. So he plays there because he wins. The 2 5s cancel out, and this 4 does not cancel out the cavalry. Oh, there's a caster. What's that? Oh, cannot be moved, flipped, removed, or modified. So the cavalry wins the day. Hey, welcome to the scoring. Okay, is that the first one for the... Okay, so that goes away. That goes away. And that was the wreath. So it's back to me. I really want to the only red one left. I really need a red one. You may, Praetorian Guard, you may play this card in a legal space containing an influence card. If you do, discard the previously played card. I will play it there. Discarding that, resolving this one. The 8 wins. I've got my set. So this card goes away. Okay. I still don't think this gentleman has a play. No, 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 no. Pillar gets an 8. If he goes here, he gives it to me. So therefore he will go there, since he's not giving that. A 7. If he goes here, he gives it to me, so he will go there. Wow, there's no... Oh, I was going to say maybe I'll think about... would like to... What are the odds that both of these are barbarians are going to sack? I'm going to say none. So I'm going to play Mobile Vulgus. You may discard another populist card already played anywhere on the board. I'm going to play that here. Notice at this point I have resolved this Emperor and this Emperor. I get to choose the order in which they're done. So I'm going to do this one first because I'm going to win this one. So this goes away. Oops. I get this one. This one. Wow, goes to the Pillar faction. He's keeping up with me. And then, obviously, all of these cards going away. I have to pick a card. Please don't be a barbarian. Oh no, you've got to be kidding me. Instead of placing a barbarian in Rome, flip this card over, discard the barbarian, so the game is not over, but I can only, if next time barbarian sacks Rome, I lose. So I have to survive 2 more rounds. That was the first round. Scoring at the end of the first round. 1 point for the Wreath faction, 1 point for the Eagle faction, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Pillar faction, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a bonus of 3, 7 for me. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please post on Board Game Geek. Thanks a lot.